You brush twice a day. You floss. You rinse with that burning, stinging blue mouthwash until your eyes water. Yet every time you sit in that dentist chair they tell you the same thing. Your gums are receding, your teeth are sensitive, and you're one step away from expensive gum surgery or root canals. Why is a perfect routine failing? Hi, I'm Dr. Martin, a functional dentist and oral microbiome researcher. If your gums bleed when you brush, your teeth ache in cold or hot, or your breath still smells bad despite a religious cleaning routine, this video is for you. Stick with me for the next few minutes and I'll explain the shocking reason your dentist may be right, and why their usual fix is missing the real problem. I get it. You do everything you were taught. You're not lazy, you're terrified. You've watched friends lose teeth. You've seen the invoice for gum surgery. You've been told to brush harder or to rinse more. But here's the brutal truth. The very products and habits you trust are often the ones making the problem worse. This isn't about bad technique. It's not only about genetics or aging. It's worse and stranger. You are, unknowingly, conducting chemical warfare in your own mouth. You are sterilizing a complex ecosystem that needs protection. The result? A biological collapse that hands the keys to the problem over to a different, deadlier group of microbes. Imagine clearing a forest of every single bird, insect, and tree, then expecting the forest to thrive. When we kill the germs indiscriminately, we remove the microscopic allies that keep our gums strong and our breath fresh. Without them, opportunistic, oxygen-hating bacteria move in. Bacteria that don't play by the same rules as the ones you killed. They're the ones that chew away at your gum line and make your breath smell like sulfur. You've been told antiseptic equals safer. But antiseptic is a scorched earth strategy. Products that proudly promise to kill 99.9% create a temporary quiet, yes, but what fills that silence is the wrong kind of life. The result? Deeper pockets, inflammation that never fully resolves, and a shrinking gum margin that exposes tooth roots. I see it every week. Patients who have done everything right, twice daily brushing, nightly mouthwash, yet their gum pockets deepen. They come in terrified. And when we test the bacterial community we find the pattern is the same, a depleted community of beneficial bacteria and a bloom of destructive anaerobes. This is why the burning mouthwash, the laundry list of antibacterial toothpaste ingredients, and aggressive daily sterilizing actually backfire. They're short-term victories that invite long-term defeat. The mouth is not a kitchen counter, it's a living ecosystem, and like any ecosystem, balance matters. But here's the good news and the reason you should keep watching. This is fixable. You don't need to accept a lifetime of gum decline. You don't need to be terrified of losing teeth. There's a different approach, biological, not toxic, that rebuilds the mouth's natural defense system. Later in this video I'll show you how to stop the war and start the healing. As a clinician who studies the oral microbiome, I've seen how restoring the right bacteria reverses the downward spiral. Not with harsher chemicals, but with carefully chosen biological tools. The solution is to repopulate the good microbes, not keep trying to exterminate everything. In the next section I'll explain exactly what the oral microbiome is, which bacteria protect your gums, and which are the so-called zombie microbes you need to watch out for. If your gums are bleeding, if your breath betrays you, don't panic, understand the biology. Knowledge is the first step to taking your mouth back. Ready? Let's dismantle the chemical warfare and meet your microscopic allies. Okay, let's get scientific, but not scary. Your mouth is not an empty battlefield that needs constant fumigation. It's a bustling, ordered city, a microscopic rainforest, called the oral microbiome. And like any healthy ecosystem, it needs variety, cooperation, and balance to function. Inside your mouth live billions of bacteria, fungi, and viruses that form communities on your teeth, tongue, gums, and cheeks. They're organized into biofilms. Think of them as microscopic neighborhoods that cling to surfaces. Most are harmless or helpful. They eat the sugars and proteins you leave behind, they compete with bad actors for space, and they make molecules that actually protect your gum tissue. First role: gatekeeper. Friendly species occupy sticky niches on your tooth and gum so pathogens can't. They outcompete invaders for space and food. The first lesson of ecology: whoever controls the real estate controls the neighborhood. Second role: chemical defense. Many beneficial oral bacteria produce natural antimicrobials, bacteriocins and hydrogen peroxide, that selectively suppress pathogens. Some species metabolize sugars into less damaging products, and others consume the acids that would otherwise dissolve tooth mineral. Third role, and this is critical for gum health, is immune education. Good microbes talk to your immune system. They teach it to tolerate harmless residents and to mount measured responses to real threats. This keeps inflammation calm. Chronic inflammation is the engine that drives tissue destruction, and your bacteria help cut that engine off. Bonus fact most people don't know: certain oral bacteria reduce dietary nitrate into nitrite, which helps produce nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes blood vessels. Healthy blood flow matters for gum repair. Kill those bacteria, and you may undermine tissue perfusion and healing capacity. When all these functions are working, your mouth is self-regulating, plaque remains manageable, mild acid excursions are neutralized, breath stays neutral, and the gum margin stays snug. You may still get a cavity here or there, but you're not on a fast track toward deep pockets and tissue loss. But when the community loses its diversity and protective members, for example after years of harsh antiseptics, a sugary diet, dry mouth from medications, smoking, or aging-related changes, the ecosystem becomes dysbiotic. That's a scientific word meaning out of balance, and dysbiosis is the turning point toward disease. The microbes that thrive in a dysbiotic mouth prefer low-oxygen, protein-rich environments, exactly the pockets that form when gums start to pull away. You'll hear them called anaerobes or, in this video, zombie bacteria, slow-growing, proteolytic species like Porphyromonas, Tannerella, and Treponema. They aren't science fiction monsters, they're ordinary bacteria with nasty habits. These anaerobic bacteria produce proteases, enzymes that chew up the proteins that hold your gums to your teeth, like collagen and extracellular matrix. They also release toxic metabolic byproducts, volatile sulfur compounds, that cause foul breath. Crucially, they manipulate the immune system, driving destructive, chronic inflammation rather than healing responses. You might think, I'll just brush them out or scrub harder. But these bacteria live deep inside pockets and within biofilm matrices that protect them. Worse, aggressive brushing can injure already inflamed gums and accelerate recession. The real solution isn't brute force. It's restoring the conditions that favor the friendly community so it can naturally suppress the bad actors. Other factors tip the balance. A diet high in refined carbs feeds acid-producing bacteria. Low saliva, xerostomia, reduces mechanical clearing and antimicrobial peptides. Many common medications alter saliva or pH. Age matters too. The oral environment shifts as we get older, and the community needs help to remain resilient. Here's the hopeful part. Clinical research shows that when the community is nudged back toward a healthy balance, whether by targeted probiotics, improved diet, managing dry mouth, or stopping destructive habits, you can reduce inflammation, shrink pockets, and improve breath. We're talking about biological restoration, not chemical band-aids. So now you know the players, the guardians and the opportunists, and how balance preserves your gum line. Next, we'll meet the villain in detail. The zombie bacteria, and the exact ways they cause recession, and why sterilizing products make the problem worse. That's the section that pulls the whole picture together. Stick with me. This is where the biology becomes practical. Once you understand the enemy, you can change the battlefield. Alright, now we meet the villain. I call them zombie bacteria because of how they behave. Slow, stealthy, thriving in darkness, and metabolically wired to eat the very proteins that hold your gum to your tooth. They're not supernatural, they're proteolytic anaerobes. And when they gain the upper hand, your gum line pays the price. Scientifically speaking, the most notorious members of this group include species like Porphyromonas gingivalis, Tannerola forsythia, and Treponema denticola. In periodontal science, they're often grouped as red complex anaerobes, specialists at living inside pockets where oxygen is low and protein from tissue and bleeding is plentiful. What makes these bacteria destructive is what they secrete. They produce proteases, molecular scissors, that cut collagen and extracellular matrix proteins. Page gingivalis even produces enzymes called gingipanes that are particularly aggressive. Over time, those scissors loosen the attachments that keep the gum margin tight, and gums start to recede. They don't attack like a single soldier, they hide and organize. These bacteria live inside biofilms, dense, sticky matrices that shield them from toothbrush bristles, antibiotics, and even many antiseptics. The pocket becomes their fortress. Lower oxygen, more protein, less saliva flow, perfect conditions for a proteolytic army. Worse, these pathogens are master manipulators. They skew your immune response, provoking chronic, destructive inflammation instead of controlled healing. The inflammatory response that should clear infection turns into a tissue demolition crew, releasing collagen ases and matrix metalloproteinases, MMPs, that accelerate attachment loss. And yes, the bad breath, it's chemistry. These anaerobes break down proteins into sulfur-containing compounds like hydrogen sulfide and methylmercaptan, volatile sulfur compounds, VSCs. These are literally rotten egg and garlic smell molecules. They're an output of the same metabolism that destroys tissue. Clinically, what patients feel and see are pocketing, bleeding, sensitivity, and recession. As gums pull away, they expose root surfaces, dentin, which has microscopic tubules directly connected to nerve endings. That's why cold or hot suddenly makes your teeth scream. Receding gums also expose the softer cementum and root surface that decay and wear far faster than enamel. This helps explain the paradox from earlier, why antiseptics and kill everything rinses can make things worse. Non-selective antiseptics transiently reduce surface bacteria, but they don't penetrate biofilms well, and they wipe out beneficial, oxygen-tolerant species that would normally keep anaerobes in check. Once the friendly community is reduced, the protected anaerobes rebound and expand into the cleared niches. Biofilms also harbor, persister, cells and metabolic heterogeneity. Some bacteria enter low-activity states and survive assaults that would wipe out actively growing cells. After the antiseptic dries, the survivors repopulate, often with an altered community dominated by anaerobes. So you get a destructive feedback loop. Antiseptic right-pointing arrow, temporary reduction right-pointing arrow, loss of guardians right-pointing arrow, opportunist bloom right-pointing arrow, inflammation right-pointing arrow, tissue breakdown right-pointing arrow, deeper pockets right-pointing arrow, more anaerobic habitat right-pointing arrow, more destruction. It's not linear, it's an ecological collapse that accelerates unless you intervene differently. The human cost is real. Progressive gum recession, sensitivity that ruins coffee or ice cream, embarrassment from chronic bad breath, and the looming threat of costly periodontal procedures. I don't say this to scare you, I say it so you understand why the standard advice, more scrubbing, more antiseptic, so often fails. The good news? If we stop fueling this loop and start shifting the community back toward protective species, we can blunt the damage. In the next section, I'll show the biological protocol that does exactly that: how to stop the war, replant the microbiome, and let the good bacteria reclaim those pockets. You're not doomed by your mouth's history. Once you see this as an ecological problem, you'll see why biological solutions, not more chemical warfare, are the future. Okay, we've diagnosed the collapse. Now let's repair it. The approach is ecological, not chemical. Stop the scorched earth tactics, fix the environment, and reseed the mouth with the right allies. I'll give you a practical, science-forward protocol you can use right away. Step 1. Stop the daily chemical warfare. That means ditching or sharply reducing harsh alcohol mouthwashes and over-antibacterial toothpastes that promise to kill 99.9% of germs. For most people with receding gums or chronic bad breath, those products create selection pressure that favors anaerobes. Replace them with a gentle fluoride toothpaste, if you use fluoride, and a neutral or antimicrobial-free rinse while you reset your microbiome. Step 2. Mechanical care, but softer and smarter. Continue brushing twice daily with a soft brush and use gentle, measured flossing. Don't scrub aggressively. Aggressive technique can tear fragile gums. Consider a sonic or electric brush with pressure sensors to avoid overbrushing. Also add tongue scraping every morning. The tongue is a major reservoir for sulfur-producing bacteria. Step 3. Support your mouth's environment. Hydration, chewing sugar-free gum to stimulate saliva, and addressing dry mouth medications with your physician help a lot. Reduce frequent refined carb snacking. That reduces acid stress and lowers substrates that feed dysbiotic pathways. Step 4. And this is where the paradigm shift happens: targeted biological repopulation with oral probiotics. Instead of killing microbes, you introduce high-quality strains that are adapted to the mouth. They bind to oral surfaces, compete for space and nutrients, produce antibacterial compounds against pathogens, and help modulate inflammation. Clinical trials and reviews show that some oral probiotic strains, for example Lactobacillus reuteri or specific Streptococcus salivarius strains, can reduce plaque, gingival inflammation, and indicators of periodontal disease when used as an adjunct to normal care. That's also why many clinicians and patients are turning to oral probiotic products such as ProDentim. ProDentim is formulated as an oral delivery probiotic blend intended to survive saliva, colonize oral surfaces, and support the types of bacteria we want in a healthy mouth. The goal is to re-establish a protective community so the destructive anaerobes can't reoccupy those niches. How it works in plain language: 1. The probiotic lozenge dissolves slowly against the gum and tongue, delivering live strains to the surface. 2. Those strains adhere and begin to occupy binding sites, making it harder for anaerobes to reattach. 3. They produce natural antagonists, bacteriocins and metabolites, that suppress pathogens. And 4. They interact with local immunity to reduce destructive inflammation. This is exactly the ecological re-greening your mouth needs. 2 important realities. First, probiotics are an adjunct, not a miracle overnight cure. Expect gradual improvement over weeks to months, reductions in bleeding and inflammation, improved breath, and stabilization of pocketing. Second, not all products are created equal. Strain selection, dose, CFU, formulation, lozenge versus capsule, and manufacturing quality matter. Look for products produced in GMP facilities and with transparent ingredient lists. A simple, practical protocol. I recommend for many adults with receding gums or chronic halitosis. 1. Stop harsh antiseptics for 2 to 4 weeks. 2. Maintain gentle brushing and flossing. 3. Use xylitol gum for saliva stimulation. 4. Take an oral probiotic lozenge nightly. Allow it to dissolve slowly. Don't chew or swallow immediately. And 5. Re-evaluate with your dentist after 8 to 12 weeks. If you have active deep periodontal pockets, discuss adjunctive periodontal therapy with your clinician. Probiotics are often complementary to, not a substitute for, mechanical therapy. If you want a place to start, I'll link to a ProDentim protocol in the description below. It's the option I see succeed often in clinic when paired with the steps I just described. Remember, the goal is not to eradicate microbes, it's to restore balance so your gums can heal. If you have systemic health issues or are immunocompromised, check with your physician before starting any probiotic. In short, stop the war, fix the environment, and repopulate the mouth with the right allies. Next, we'll wrap up with the daily habits that lock in the gains so you don't slip back into the old cycle. You've now seen the problem and the biology. Indiscriminate chemical warfare destroys the oral microbiome, creates space for destructive anaerobes, and drives recession. The solution is simple to understand and practical to apply. Stop the scorched earth tactics, support the environment your gums need, and seed it with the right allies. Here are the daily habits that lock that change in. Habit 1. Throw away or put away the harsh alcohol antiseptic mouthwash. Replace it with a neutral, alcohol-free rinse for now, or simply use water after brushing while you reset your microbiome. The goal is to stop the repeated, non-selective kill that favors anaerobes. Habit 2. Brush twice daily with a soft bristled brush. Use gentle, circular motions. If you have an electric brush, let it do the work and avoid pressing hard. Overzealous brushing injures the gum margin and accelerates recession. Habit 3. Floss daily to remove interdental biofilm, be gentle. Then every morning use a tongue scraper. The tongue acts like a reservoir for volatile sulfur-producing bacteria. Scraping reduces the supply of those foul-smelling compounds. Habit 4. Support saliva and reduce frequent sugars. Hydrate. Chew xylitol gum after meals to stimulate saliva, and prioritize whole food snacks over constant refined carbs. Saliva is a natural cleanser and contains molecules that support beneficial bacteria. Habit 5. Consider nightly oral probiotics as a reseeding strategy. A quality oral probiotic lozenge used consistently at night, allowed to dissolve slowly, helps beneficial strains adhere to gums and tongue where they can begin to compete with anaerobes. If you want a starting point, I'll put a recommended protocol in the description. Many clinicians are finding meaningful improvements when probiotics are used as part of this entire ecological approach. Habit 6. Keep regular dental checkups and speak with your hygienist about gentle periodontal maintenance. If you have deep pockets, 5M+, active bone loss, or mobility, probiotics are adjunctive. You may still need scaling, root planing, or specialist care. Use probiotics to improve and maintain health, not as a replacement for necessary mechanical therapy. A word about time. Biological repair takes weeks to months. Expect gradual reduction in bleeding, improved breath, and stabilization of pocketing over 8 to 12 weeks when you consistently apply these habits. Celebrate the small wins. Less bleeding when you brush, easier cold sensitivity, fresher mornings. They mean your ecosystem is rebuilding. You're not a passive victim of your mouth. This is an ecological problem with ecological answers. Thousands of patients have stopped the downhill slide simply by stopping the chemical war, adopting gentler habits, and using targeted oral probiotics as part of a broader plan. You can do this, and protect your smile for years to come. If you want the exact protocol I described, the step-by-step checklist, the lozenge routine, and guidance for talking to your dentist, check the link in the description for the ProDentim protocol. Start with the habits above tonight. If you're concerned about deep disease, book a periodontal evaluation right away. Important disclaimer. I'm sharing evidence-based strategies and clinical experience, but this video is educational only and does not replace personalized medical or dental advice. If you have active periodontal disease, systemic health conditions, for example diabetes, heart disease, are pregnant, immunocompromised, or taking antibiotics or immunosuppressive drugs, consult your dentist or physician before starting any probiotic or changing your treatment. Probiotics are generally safe for healthy adults, but individual circumstances vary. If in doubt, check with your healthcare team. Thanks for watching. If you found this eye-opening, subscribe for more practical, science-forward dental care, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next deep dive. Your smile is an ecosystem. Protect it, nurture it, and it will protect you. See you next time.